Hello and welcome to Shakir Adair's Fashion History. I am Shakir Adair, and today we will be discussing the history of the legendary Coco Chanel. Now, Chanel is my favorite brand. I think it personifies elegance and class. Chanel and Christian Dior both. Chanel, Christian Dior, and Givenchy are my top three favorite brands, but I love Chanel. Now let's get into Chanel. Born Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel in France, she definitely had a very tough life, being an orphan, a convent child, strict childhood, I believe. Um, Orphanage, of course, that's going to be tough on you. She was very different from the beginning, I will say. Um, as she got older, she began to be more so of an outcast. And as she got older, everyone started to know that she was much different from the other women of the time. She would wear suits, and she was really credited for creating the suit for the woman and bringing out pants for women. One of the celebrities you can really think of when you think of women and suits from that era, back then, is Marlene Dietrich, the Hollywood actress. But Chanel opened her first shop in 1910, which was basically, I think it was a millinery shop, just like hats and stuff, is what she opened up. But as we all know, it expanded into way more, and it was fashion and whatnot. Now, Chanel is really credited as, the world's most elegant woman. And I will say one of. One of. Now, Chanel, I believe, I'm trying to think of who came first, if it was Boy Capel, Etienne Balsan. But I want to say she fell in love with Etienne Balsan, and she had an affair with him. Now, I believe she fell out of love with him and then into the next guy, Boy Capel. Now, Boy Capel and Chanel were in love, like really in love, and I know he was very rich, but she was really in love with that man. And I believe it was 1919, Boy Capel's life was suddenly, unfortunately, cut short in a terrible car accident. And I know that was the first, it was the first and last time, it was the first and only time Chanel was ever seen to cry. And I want to quote her and she said, either I go to or we finish what we started. This is Boy Capel. As you see, very aristocratic. And I also want to say I think she had affairs with dukes, princes, if whatever you want to call them, heirs. She had a lot of affairs, and I know that Chanel did use sex as her way of power, as her way to get to the top, and that's what she did. It's what a lot of women did back then. But Chanel was really about it. So yeah. I want to say this is Chanel and Boy Capel. Or is that Etienne Balsan? I want to say Etienne Balsan. That's Etienne Balsan. But as you see, she's wearing pants. And I think the reason why she started wearing pants is because she noticed that wearing a skirt is hard to ride horses in. So she was wearing her pants. Now, in 1923, and I love this part. In 1923, Coco Chanel called upon Ernest Bull, who was the perfumer to the stars. And she launched her first ever perfume, Chanel No. 5, which is my favorite perfume. My mother used some of it. I know her mother used some of it. And I know Marilyn Monroe and any elegant person, not just the women, because I'm a guy, but any elegant person classy person, really uses Chanel No. 5. If you guys don't have a bottle of it, I recommend it. At the time, it was the most expensive perfume Um, I will quote her by saying, I think she said, I am a designer of couture. I want a perfume that is a composition, declared Gabrielle Chanel. This is Etienne Balsan, the perfumer. As you see, he's a very snappy, well-dressed, sharp man, and I love that. This is Chanel number 5. The liquid and the smell in general is just class. It's very classy. Into the 1920s, these are some Chanel designs. First of all, I'm not a fan of I'm not really a fan of 1920s casual fashion. I do believe it's very just straight up and down. It takes away femininity, takes away a lot of glamour. But this is Chanel 1920s. This is Coco Chanel herself in the 1920s. She was very about pearls. Chanel again, 1920s. Hats. This is Coco Chanel again. And I believe there's a famous photo of her on the shoulder of a guy. I would have to locate that later, but I love this look on her. I love the pearls and the pants on her. I think she looks really great. And to the 1930s, I want to say this is my favorite thing I've ever seen Chanel wear. This is a fur that she's wearing, and I love this the dress. I think that the 1930s really brought back femininity. It brought back glamour, and Chanel was a part of it. More Chanel from the 1930s. Looks great. February 1930, Chanel. I love it. Still has some more of a 1920s feel because it's 1930, so they're really not out of that 20s fashion yet. This is the Duchess of Windsor and the Chanel's design. I believe this is her wedding day. Now, if anyone knows the Duchess of Windsor, her name is Wallis Simpson. Very sharp, snappy, expensive dresser. So, of course, she is in Chanel for her wedding day. Into the 1940s, we have Chanel. This is actually kind of late in the 1940s, but let me explain. So in 1939, the war broke out, World War II. And I believe it went on until 1942 or 43. But with the war coming to, I think it was Germany invaded France. A lot happened. A lot of couture shops had to close. Just wasn't a great time for a couturier or a fashion house or anything like that. But I do know that Chanel number 5 was skyrocketing because a lot of GIs flocked to the Chanel boutique to buy perfume for their loved one. But Hitler, you gotta remember Hitler, that guy. It's sad to say that Coco Chanel sided with the Nazis. And it wasn't just her. Louis Vuitton sided with the Nazis. Hugo Boss sided with the Nazis. I believe Gucci sided with the Nazis. And a lot of other people sided with the Nazis. I want to say Burberry, but I'm not sure. I really want to say Burberry, but they're not French. I don't know, but she sided with the Nazis. And it really wasn't just siding with them like Louis Vuitton and Gucci. Coco Chanel was sleeping with Nazis, having affairs with Nazis, to boost her brand. And I believe she was a spy. And I believe she also was anti-Semitic because the way Nazis and Jews, the relationship between them. So I believe she was anti-Semitic. And I wouldn't be surprised if she was racist. And not saying that she was, but in those times, I really wouldn't be surprised if she was racist. I do know that Chanel herself had a very bitter attitude. She's very snappy, bitter, just a bitter woman all over, which is kind of sad. But, that's just the way everything is. More Chanel in the 1940s. Then in came in 1947 The designs of called the New Look by none other than the legend himself, Christian Dior. Christian Dior created the New Look, very very like waist. It was very waisted, very making the women very feminine and glamorous. And of course, Coco Chanel had a lot to say about that. And I forgot to tell you guys how she acquired the name Coco. As I said, her name is Gabrielle. She was a singer. And I believe she was singing a lot of who sing Coco in the Trocadero. And that's where she acquired the name Coco. But she had a lot. Because we all know Chanel's designs were about freeing the women of the waist and letting them feel comfortable about who they are and also being able to breathe. And when she saw Dior's work, I know for a fact that she didn't like it because she felt it went against everything that she's done. She also admired Balenciaga's designs but questioned his ability to cut. In the 1950s, Chanel created the Chanel suit, which is a staple in the Chanel brand, of course. She created the Chanel suit and the Chanel handbag. This is the Chanel handbag, as we all know. The classic flap is what it's called. As we know, Chanel now has a variety of handbags you can pick from. We know the boy bag and the Coco and many more. Same thing with the perfumes. There's more than just Chanel No. 5. We have Coco, we have Chance, we have Riviera, we have Deville. So it's a lot. Then we have the classic Chanel shoe, the pump. But yeah, this was Chanel in the 50s. This is what the designs look like, and it's very classic, very business. I love this. I really do. This is very mysterious. Has a very good mystique to it. Very expensive mystique. This is Coco Chanel herself dressing one of her clients. I absolutely love it. Now, Chanel also was a really hard worker. Always kept a cigarette in her hand while dressing the models, preparing the haute couture, and making sure everything was 100% correct because she was a perfectionist. A woman outside the Chanel boutique in the Chanel suit with the hat and the pumps and pearls. Chanel was all about pearls and diamonds, especially the pearls, because I think she believed pearls really were about elegance for a person. I love this photo. This actually really captures Chanel with the classic pump with the black toe and the classic flat bag and the tweed jacket. On to the 1960s, we know same design and everything. Same design. And we all know November 22nd, 1963, which was the day John F. Kennedy was assassinated. His wife, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, was wearing a Chanel design, a pink Chanel suit, when her husband was assassinated. And when he was shot, and it's still blood on the suit. And the suit is in the National Archives and is locked away until the year 2103. And then it will be shown to the public. Doubt if anyone watching this will be alive during that time. Hopefully you will, but hopefully I will too. But, chances of that. Again, Chanel in the 60s. This is Chanel early 1970s. And we all know in 1971, living at the Ritz, as we all know, the Ritz-Carlton, most prestigious hotel in Paris, Coco Chanel was living there. As we all know, she had her boutique at 31 Rue Cambon in Paris, which her home was above there, actually. But she was residing to the Ritz at the end of a work day, going to the Ritz, living there. And I know letting the bellhop know before she arrived that they would spray down the staircase with Chanel No. 5. Upon her arrival, And she stayed there until 1971, where she passed away, which is very, very sad. But she passed away. And then after that, Chanel was in the care of Karl Lagerfeld up until 2019, until his death. And so Chanel carries on a legacy of glamour, class, and elegance. We will always remember and know Coco Chanel for everything that she's done. She was a visionary and a hard worker for women, regardless of her shitty personality. Coco Chanel remains a staple in fashion history. I am Shakira Dare. Stay tuned for more.